What's popping? What's popping? I'm back with another written script. What? The written script, Sam? That's crazy, right? The reason why I'm doing a written script for this intro is because I have a few announcements that I need to make before the video starts. So first off, I'm going to say that there will be no video next week. 99%. Maybe, because I might change my mind. I might get bored. But I'm taking a break next week because I will be going on vacation. I will be out of the state. I am taking a beach week. We just decided to get out of the house, because I haven't left this house since the beginning of August. Also, if you haven't already watched part 1, please do so, because I will be talking about things that I already discussed in part 1. Like, if you're like, oh, Sam, what happened this? I probably already described it in part 1. Also, which reminds me that there's one thing I didn't talk about. Actually, two things I didn't talk about that my friend Trey pointed out to me, is that I didn't mention Bismuth, who is the original crystal gem alongside with Pearl and Rose Quartz, aka Pink Diamond. Whoops, spoilers. Haha, told you should have gone and watched the first one. And she gets bubbled away because she wants to kill people, and Rose Quartz says no thank you, so then she poofs Bismuth and puts her away. Also, Nicki Minaj voiced one of the characters, Sugilite. So yeah, that was interesting. She only appeared in one episode, but was mentioned in like 3 others, so they had to pay her for those 2, which I thought was hilarious, because that's probably a lot of money. Here's your official spoiler warning right here. I already spoiled the Pink Diamond thing. Who knows what else I say? Alright, as I discussed in the last video, I will be talking about the entirety of Steven Universe Future, which is the movie and the epilogue series that is 20 episodes long. So let's talk about the movie first, because it's chronological order. That's how I've been doing things. So we left off with the Diamonds being good guys now. Now it's 2 years later. Steven is 16 and has a neck. Then they go that he establishes peace across all the galaxy and stuff, and there's peace on planet Earth, and they have a giant big song about it. And then Spinel comes, which is a character that I mentioned last time. Spinel is the true fusion between Sapphire and Ruby, but that's not in the show because Spinel turns out not to be a fusion at all. She is like a jester type clown that is in the style of Cuphead, or like 1930s rubber hose animation, and has an absolute bop of a theme song.
That's right, I heard the story over and over again. Gee, it's swell to finally meet her other friend.
So she has this thing called the Rejuvenator, which if you get hit by it, it resets your entire gem system thing, and all the crystal gems get hit by it. They get poofed and reset, except Steven, when he gets hit by it, he's still aware of what's going on, but he can't access his powers, which is lame. So the entire thing is just the entire movie is just him getting the gems for memories back. And also Spinel got hit by the Rejuvenator, so by figuring out her past, she remembers, oh yeah, I was Pink Diamond's best friend, but she abandoned me and left me alone for 5,000 years. Thanks, Mom! Somebody please send help. My mom left me at the Space Walmart. And Steven convinces Spinel, he's like, hey, we can be friends, right? We can be friends because, my mom was kind of a jerk to you, so let's be friends. She's like, okay, let's be friends, and then decides, no, I have trust issues, so I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And then they have a big fight, and then Steven starts singing a song that could have potentially been the best song in the entire series, but instead it was like a minute long, and it was still kind of catchy, but it's only a minute long, so it's not even like... Spinel breaks the 4th wall and is like, you can't solve my problems by singing, and then smashes him into the ground. And then they have a giant talk and they're like, oh, we're friends again, yay. And Spinel decides she doesn't want to live on Earth because Steven reminds her too much of Pink Diamond, so she decides to go to Homeworld to live with the Diamonds. Story over. This is where it should have ended, but instead we got Steven Universe Future, the epilogue. And oh my gosh, this show sucks. It is so, oh my, there's so many problems with this show. They should have just left it at the movie. The movie had the most perfect ending. It fixes everybody's problems with the original ending and why everybody hated it so much. And also, the only problem that I have with Future is that during the intro sequence, Steven goes into Lion's Mane, and they just generally gloss over that the chest is open now. What was in it? I mean, I could generally have a few guesses, but I don't know. Maybe that could be a future video. Now let's talk about Steven Universe, the epilogue series. Steven Universe Future! God, that's cringe. So I'm going to be going episode by episode, because some of them are not important at all, and I don't know why you would have any filler in a 20 episode epilogue. Cartoon Network says so I guess you do it. I mean, that makes sense, but yeah. So they finished building Little Homeworld, which was the town that was created in Steven Universe, the movie. And really the only important part about this is the fact that it's built now, it's done. It's a university or a school for gems that want to learn about Earth and how to be better people. And Steven has grown up some anger issues because if you haven't gotten the idea yet, Steven is very done with everything. Like, for the past 3 years of his life, he's just been dealing with non-stop BS from the gems, and it's just making him upset. So he's got some pent-up rage. So we're skipping episode 2 to going to episode 3, Rosebuds, where he sees that there was other rose quartzes, an entire colony of them. And he meets them, and they want to get to know Steven better, and then they're like, oh, you're so awesome, yeah, Steven, let's live with you. And he's like, well, no, you see, you look exactly like my mom, who was dead and caused all of my problems in the world. So then he made peace with them, and they decided to be friends, and they move on, and they decide not to live on Earth because they realized that would be inconsiderate to Steven. It's because someone decided to not be actually considerate to Steven this entire show, because everyone just wants Steven to fix their problems all of the time. And then and as we'll get into later, they start trying to help Steven when it is already too late. Moving on to episode 5, Bluebird. It's when previous villains, Aquamarine and Ruby Eyeball Ruby? The Ruby with the eyeball, kind of. But yeah, they fuse to try to kill Steven, and he realizes in this episode that you can't make everybody like you. Moving on to episode 7, Snow Day, which is when he tries to convince the Crystal Gems that he is an adult now and he can handle himself while playing a game of Steven Tag. And since he's running Little Homeschool, he has to be the mature one. But he has the Crystal Gems realize that he's not a kid anymore. He's an adult. He's fine. You know him. Then we move on to Little Graduation, episode 9, which just undoes everything I just said because he acts like a little twerp in this episode. Him being a long-time shipper of his two friends, Sadie and Lars, they decide not to get together and he loses his frickin' mind. He's like, what? You guys are moving on from each other. You can't do that. I've been shipping you for 3 years. I look like a fool now. Oh my gosh. And they realize that they're moving on, and Sadie Killer and the Sages are breaking up the band because they're moving on to do other things like college and separate music careers, and Lars is heading off to be a space pirate, which is super cool in my opinion. But Steven says, no, why is everybody leaving? Some of my two best friends are leaving me now, I'm sad. Oh no, I'm gonna quit Little Homeschool because I want to go into deep depression now. Then we go into the next episode, Prickly Pear, where he gets super upset because Sadie and Lars left because, again, I just said those were two of his best friends. and he makes a cactus on accident come to life. And he vents to this cactus, who spits everything he says back out, like all of his complaining about everything. And then the cactus just becomes so huge with pent-up anger, it attacks the gems, because he was like, I need to protect Steven, because he feels unsafe. And then the cactus just leaves. He's gone now. So now we're finally to the actual story. Finally, at episode 13! The main story is seven episodes. So episode 13, Steven is sad because now his best friend forever, Connie, is leaving to go to college a year early because she's that heckin' and Steven's like, well, I'm gonna miss Connie a lot. I don't want her to leave. So you wanna know what he thinks? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna ask her out because I've kind of liked her for the past 3 weeks. For the past three or 4 years of my life. So he goes over to her house and he takes her on this cute little beach date. He writes her a song and sings it to her, and I was like, oh, Steven, you slide down. No, Steven, no, Steven, stop, no, please, no, Steven, no.
You what?
And Connie probably gave the best answer ever, because one, they are too young, because Steven is 16 and Connie's like 14 or 15, so they're way too young for this, okay? So when she freaks out, Steven says no, and she says, it's not a no, it's a... Oh, I burped. That was awful. She doesn't say no, she says, just not right now, which was the best answer she probably could have ever gave to Steven. And you want to know what Steven does? He goes into depression because he takes that as a no, even though she just said the answer is not no. It is not now. I am waiting a year or two until we're actually old enough, Steven.
That was his mistake.
So then he goes into like another freak out because, like I said, he's been turning pink and having these big freakouts. So he goes to the doctor and gets it all checked out and stuff. And it turns out they can't fix him. So Greg Universe, his dad, decides to take him on a little vacation, and they go to Greg's old childhood house where they steal a record, and he finds out that their last name is from Greg's favorite song of all time. This makes Steven lose his mind. He, like, blows up on his dad, and he just goes off. He's like, I am mad at you because I never had a childhood. You never gave me one. Because you never let me go to school, you didn't take me to doctors until like yesterday, and I just wanted to be a normal kid, and this is what I got, and I'm mad at you for it. And Greg says, okay, cool, you stood up to me, I'm proud of you, which was the exact opposite of what he needed to hear. Darn you, Greg, you're the best father ever until you said that. This makes Steven run away to train with Jasper because he just wants to try to control his pink energy because you can't get rid of it. I'm just gonna live with it. I'm gonna figure out how to make it work. And instead he shatters Jasper. So we're like, wow, Steven just killed off an important character. This might be a character just died. Oh, no, wait, he brought him back. And now he has a completely different... I keep calling him a he because I thought Jasper was a he forever. But he's like, my diamond, I serve you now. And he's like, wait, what? No, that's not what I wanted. I beat you in a fight and I almost killed you, bro. I don't want to be worshipped by you. So then he runs away again, but this time to Homeworld to see if the diamonds could fix him. Where he meets up with Spinel again, and Spinel becomes the most unlikable character ever in this one episode. And the diamonds try to fix him, and Yellow tries and doesn't fix him. Blue tries and doesn't, and then when White Diamond tries, Steven's conscience takes over, and he almost kills White. So then he gets terrified of himself, and he runs away back to Earth, and he just tries to convince himself that everything is fine, and everything is fine, when sometimes it's not fine. Instead of, coming forward to the gems, and his father and his best friend, and saying that he is not okay, instead he decided to say, I am okay. To where at the end of the episode, he just explodes. Like, literally. He literally explodes all of his emotions onto everybody and turns into this big monster boy. And everybody like gathers around. They try to stop Steven, and they realize they can't. And you're like, you know what? We'll stop him. Group hug, and then his depression ends just like that. And it made me depressed because that was the worst possible ending ever. What? It ends in a group hug instead of an epic battle with Steven? I loved how Steven was the final villain of this series, but they saw me in a group hug. What is this, an episode of Care Bears or My Little Pony? So then Steven decides after this whole aftermath that he's going to see a therapist, and it is in not Beach City. I don't know where it is, but he's deciding to move somewhere else and never come back. Completely running away from his problems, which he's been doing the entire series, which is run away from all of his problems. And it turns out he hasn't learned anything because he's still running away from his problems. What's the lesson here? Nothing. I would say the lesson here is to tell the people that care about you what's going on in your life so you don't explode, and make sure that you're mentally stable. But instead, no. Steven says run away from your problems, which is not the right idea, Chief. So then he drives away in his car, and in actually a pretty good song, in my opinion, Being Human, and then the series ends. And it's probably never coming back unless they decide to do a second Steven Universe movie. Oh, why couldn't you just left it the way it was, Rebecca Sugar and Cartoon Network? Oh my gosh. Okay, ending thoughts. Steven Universe is a great show. It was a pretty great universe to go into, and I really liked almost the entire show except for Steven Universe Future, because that was a crap hole. Oh, I don't think I have ever vented about a series like that before in my life, but I feel like I've never cared. It's because I don't care about the other things I've vented out as much as I've cared about this show, because I really, really liked it. Like, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's up there. I mean, it's enjoyable. If you are in the TV PG audience, then I would say go check it out. I recommend it. Until next time.